weekend. So yeah, we've been to Bristol and picked up a caravan project, which should hopefully keep me busy this winter. Not quite the one I was hoping for, but nonetheless we've got a good base to strip apart and do what we want with it, so happy days indeed. Needs a damn good wash first, I think. I went to my sister's in Wales for the night, and now we're coming back. I think, if I remember rightly, is it Reading? I think it was Reading, I think. Yeah, because the M4 goes around Reading like that, and I just went straight through the middle because the M4 had an issue and I needed petrol, so I went through there to get some cheap stuff from Tesco's. So I've now got some nicely priced super from Tesco. So now I've got a little bit more hope of not having lots of pre-detonation, aka pinging going on, which is basically where the fuel sets fire to itself prematurely, uncontrollably. So yeah, you end up where you've got no power and a very icky, horrible noise. It almost sounds almost like metallic-y tapping noise. It's a hard one to explain, but once you know what you're hearing, you know it. But yeah, it's been interesting trip so far, because obviously I've never towed anything bigger than my little trailer, and secondly, I've never towed anything bigger than the trailer on this car. I've only towed the little trailer on this car to the tip, so this is quite a big learning curve for how it is to tow a trailer bigger than an actual trailer, tow a caravan with a massive roof on it, massive high sides to get caught in crosswind, stuff like that, and then also learning how does the car respond to having what is actually just below its legal limit on the back of it, which is actually quite an interesting combination to deal with. So yeah, sort of sit anywhere between 50 and 60. If I can see a hill and I can prepare, I'll push in for the 60 mark, so that as it hits it, it can just drag itself down the speed. Because obviously if you're only doing 50, then you're basically just dropping into a very dangerous low speed when the gravity starts hitting against you, and also the wind hitting the caravan. So yeah, it's been a very interesting trip so far, but I'm honestly very proud of myself, because I reversed this caravan into a yard last night where it was kept overnight, so it was safe for anyone nicking it, and I got it in there first time without anyone spotting me. Considering the fact that where I got the caravan from, I wanted someone to spot me to get it out, because it was about a foot away from a speedboat. And I thought, I don't want to just turn and this just swipe the entire side of a boat off. That would not be ideal. I don't want my caravan to start that badly. So someone watched me out there, and then when I got to the yard, I had to sort of go round like that, and I managed to basically reverse it in pretty much just a question mark to where I had to go for the night. So very, very proud of that, because I stopped to go out a few times to check where things were, because there's only so much you can see through the mirrors. But I'm incredibly proud of how well I did it, because I've never reversed anything where I can't actually see the back and the sides. So yeah, obviously normally with a trailer, if you're really struggling, then you just think, oh stuff it, I'll just look for the back window, you can see what it's all doing. Hey presto, with this all you've got is the sides from the door mirrors. So yeah, bit of a different kettle of fish altogether really, but I did very, very well. I'm very proud of that. So okay, we need to move over lanes, because otherwise we're going to be going to Macon, and that wouldn't be ideal. Right, okay, perfect. Right, and yeah, today, yesterday I only I think I was about 20 miles with the caravan on me yesterday, and it was kind of enough to get used to the fact that, oh, okay, this is how you got to pull away, this is how you got to take a corner, i.e. take it a bit longer and wider. Then like when you stop, you kind of got to, unless you want to know that the caravan's pushed against you as you stop, you've got to try and do it as prematurely as you possibly can, so that it basically just gives it some time to do what it's got to do. So yeah, So generally speaking, very, very, very proud. But what I've found so far, besides those three things, is especially when you get on a big open road, and obviously when you think about it, say a lorry, it's basically been built to be driving against that force of the wind. And obviously if then you're going up a hill, it's the cab in general, the tractor units I think they're called, has been designed specifically to pull that sort of weight. Whereas a car, generally speaking, the primary thing it's been made for, in reality, is being loaded to the brim with 5 people and their belongings. So, I mean, obviously, I'm about 75 kilos, so if you obviously times that a few times, so 375. So, if you're doing it with humans, then you can easily be probably hitting 400 kilos, then the luggage on top of that. So yeah, you can see how quickly that can build up. So now, put the same amount of people in the car, and then put a trailer on it as well. This one is, the legal towing limit on this is 895, which is quite mad, I think, because that's heavier than a Super 5. Yeah. So yeah, this trailer is, I think it's 860. So it's just within it by a few tens of kilos. But now if you imagine putting the extra weight of people on that as well, and actually that's a lot of weight to be, that's quite a big ballpark to be designing a car to be able to do all in one hit. So today, the thing I've been kind of having to learn is that, okay, so we're on the M4, we're trying to be anywhere between 50 and 60, okay, so we're hitting a hill, okay, so actually this is finding it better to be cruising along in 4th gear, doing about 3,000 RPM, whereas, because that's kind of where the torque band really sits best with it. Put it in 5th gear, obviously 5th gear, if you're doing 70 mile an hour, it's doing 3,500 revs, so therefore the engine's got that speed and momentum in it already to keep itself going, whereas put the extra weight on it, and all of a sudden, actually, because you don't need speed, you can drop a gear to get the same momentum on the engine and maintain that lower speed. So that kind of, you just kind of have to alter how you drive in what gear to suit. And yeah, once I've sort of mastered that and gotten used to that, it's been fairly good and okay. The only thing I've had so far, a bit of a concern, is that since I was on the M4 and found the 4th gear was the best place for it, at the moment, for some strange reason, whenever you dip the clutch, wow, 340 GL, nice. Whenever you dip the clutch, at the moment it's idling at about 2,000 revs. And all I can guess is, and this is an absolute guess, because as far as I'm aware, the throttle pedal doesn't move based on the position of the auto choke, because the auto choke basically, like, it's got a bit of wax, and as it gets hot it just basically retracts it, and that means you then release the lever, and that then reduces the idle speed. So I'm guessing at the moment that something's gone a bit funny with the auto choke, because the throttle pedal stays roughly where you expect it to be normally, and yet when you come off and go idle it's sitting at 2,000 revs, so it's a bit bizarre really. No, we don't need to go across the lane, sweet, I like it. So yeah, besides the other small, yeah, aside from everything else, that is the only thing that is causing me any concern at the moment, and even that is kind of manageable because I'm driving on 3,000 revs in 4th, so yeah, yeah, it's doing really well. Not sure what the fuel's doing at the moment. I think it's probably drinking it, because it does need a few bits and pieces changing. When I got petrol, I did check the I left the bonnet open just to make it nice and cool, so I could check the water level, and maintained absolutely beautifully. So I'm incredibly impressed with it, to be honest with you. I don't think you could really ask much more of a 37-year-old car that, let's face it, given the fact it didn't have a tow bar when I bought it, it's probably never towed anything in its life. So the fact that it's only had a few sort of maiden runs with a little trailer, and now it's got an 800 kilo caravan, but I think it's doing incredibly well. So yeah. So yeah, just couldn't be happier. I was a little bit worried before getting petrol, because where I was doing the long runs, obviously from Essex to Bristol, I thought, well, if I was leaving it, if I was leaving the fuel in the tank for a long time, then absolute no-brainer, always put super in. Because I was just driving a straight on, I thought, well, in theory, it's not really going to be under the strain to really make super really necessary, because the main benefit with super is it's got higher octane, which means that it's kind of has more, what's the word I'm looking for, not tolerance, oh damn, what's that blooming name, what's the flipping word I'm looking for? Oh, I love it. I'm going to use the word tolerance, it's not the correct word, but resilience, that's the one. So with the higher octane, it's got more resilience under pressure, because it's a more performance orientated fuel, which is why sort of a lot of the STs, stuff like that, use it standard, and it's normally labelled on them, because the higher octane gives you better performance under more load. Since I had the Caravan on, and I've been going up the road, I've been kind of like, okay, so I suddenly started hearing the pinking in fifth, and I was like, okay, drop it to fourth, so I got more momentum in the engine with the lower speed, and that seemed to sort it. And then on the even bigger hills, it's like, okay, down to third, we're just going to have to do the best we can up this hill. And when I've got the fuel, I thought, right, let's go to super, because I went to Tesco, so it was a bit cheaper anyway. So it's now got the proper higher octane stuff in it, which in theory should help it along a bit with that additional requirement. So far it seems to be, because it seems to be a lot happier now on the hills and going against the wind. Because what you often find in the old days was this has got Paul Cinder ignition on it, which is basically just an electronified version of points, but it's still got the vacuum advance module which points use, and basically when you open the throttle up more and more, it's just advancing it more and more. So essentially, in the old days with an old car, if you were trying to drive it into the wind and it was forcing you backwards, you'd open the throttle to get more power, but you quite often just end up getting pinking, because it will just advance beyond its range of tolerance, and then just be like, no, I'm just going to pre-detonate now. So yeah, it seems to be better now than it was beforehand. So I think the better fuel's definitely helping it out a bit. So yeah, right, I'm going to stop for a second, and yeah, thanks for watching. Little video log.